Hey, Brandon, how's it going?
Good, good. Got me on my way home just at the right time.
Yep. So, just a
Okay,
quick.
so I guess Tom's not going to be on with us.
No, unfortunately, he's got to get ready for going to Detroit this weekend.
Well,
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Brandon?
hey,
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, we lost him there for a second. Let's try this again. Let me try making the connection myself.
hey, you got me this time?
Yeah, I had you last time. Do you hear me, Brandon?
For now.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah,
that might have been my phone. That might have been me.
it's all good, man.
Um, okay. I was going to say, so Tom's on his way to Detroit, huh?
Yeah, he leaves tomorrow, I believe, but he's
Oh,
packing up and stuff today. So, gonna try and get him on board next week when we're both off on or when we're both off. Wow, when I'm off on Thursday, next weekend, we'll do our podcast and then come back and hopefully be able to record with you. So,
okay. Well, I tell you what, you want to make this a deal where, time, on a weekly on a Thursday. At about this time, generally I'm on my way home by about right now, and I got about a half an hour drive,
yeah, yeah,
so
definitely.
that'll work. Can you pick up FaceTime or no?
Unfortunately, I don't think so because it's not available on the Android system, I believe. But I'll look into it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's no big deal. I thought I had my face for radio on it, so
Well, I actually have a way to do that. That's how Tom and I do it is through what's called Google Meets.
I see.
So,
Okay.
but what are your thoughts
All
about this last week?
Well, first of all, we got to talk about the big story in Oakland that went over to New England and now is in the court system. I mean, are you kidding me? Is this story ever going to die? My goodness. Uh, Antonio Brown, what an outrageous! I don't know if I've ever seen a storyline like this just keep on going and growing warts all over the place. Uh, it is unbelievable. I mean, it's tantamount to uh, it's almost like you're going in an outhouse, you look down a hole and you're studying it, man. But it does nothing but stink. You want to get out of it as soon as you can.
Oh,
That's funny.
oh, I know,
Oh,
and that might be. It's possible that the Raiders had an idea that this was coming down the line, and that's why they were so willing to get rid of him. I don't know for.
would not, they're beginning to look smarter and smarter every day.
Well, after their game, they looked really smart because I mean, saw the way
Yeah,
that they took care of the Broncos.
I mean, man, I know the Broncos almost had a chance to get him at the very end, but the guy dropped the pass, didn't he? I
Yeah,
didn't see the game. That's late for me.
yeah,
But that's too bad. But in a way, yeah. As far as that goes, we'll see what happens. But
yeah. Tom and I
I,
discussed it a little bit, and we're both of the opinion just let it work its way through the courts, then let the NFL do what they're gonna do, if anything. So,
I like what Tom Brady said. Any thoughts on Antonio Brown and what's going on with him? No. What about his practices? I already answered that. You know I'm full with that
yeah,
man. Oh, I want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't either. But uh, anyway, on with first of all the weekend. This past weekend, um, you know, generally what happens at the beginning of the season, you see the first month has a lot of upsets. Teams you don't think has a chance of winning, all of a sudden they pull off a big win, or in the Lions case. Last year it was the Jets. This year it's the Cardinals and tying them, and so forth. And it's because of the lack of the preseason. I mean, you really look at it now. It's to the point where everybody knows that it's a waste of time and certainly a waste of money to go see a preseason game. The NFL is going to have a real problem on their hands because people are going to sick and tired of paying full price for a game that's playing a bunch of guys who are just trying to make the team that none of them will be there, beginning of the season. Then what happens? Your starters are all out of shape. I mean, I know there was comments about the Lions defense being out of shape because they couldn't keep up with the Cardinals in the fourth quarter. I don't know how true that is, but it certainly looked it. But they're teams that are in the same boat. They're more or less evaluating players rather than getting their starters all trained up and ready to go. And look out here! That evens the playing field. I mean, there was a couple of others that kind of came close to being upset. I mean, your own team almost had the Bengals beat you.
Yeah.
In your house.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I was sitting there watching the second half, and I'm just like, yeah, we got this. Wait, no. And I'm yelling at the screen. Now, I've been trying to watch the NFL Game Pass coaches tape. I'm trying to figure out what the difference is between the roughing the kicker call that the Bengals got and the no call that we got and when our kicker was hit. The only thing I can think of is that the Bengals player for half a second longer held up his hands like, I'm not trying not to hit you, but I'm going to hit you anyways.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that should have been called. I mean,
right.
He wasn't going to be able to stop even if our guy hadn't blocked it, tried to block him away and ended up blocking him in. But he was on a collision course one way or the other. But we won.
Yeah.
Never apologize for a win. So.
No, and in our case, we actually wound up with the tie. But like everybody said, it felt like Arizona won, Detroit lost. I mean, we had an 18-point lead and let it go. And let Kyler Murray get himself into a rhythm. I tell you what, the kid's going to be good.
Yeah.
They're going to have to build him a decent team, so you guys are going to have something to deal with down there. It's just a matter of I'm really going to be interested to see how Pete Carroll and his team handles these guys, because I know you're more or less ball control, ground and pound team, like that's what Belichick's trying to get the Lions to be. And he tried that toward the end of the game, and the running game just wasn't getting it done. And before you know it, a turnover here, a short field there, and they were lightning quick getting it back in. And Kyler Murray got himself into a rhythm that he hadn't been in all game. So I'm really going to be interested to see how this team goes. I guess they got the Ravens this weekend. And
talk about being in a rhythm.
Oh man, that's going to be a wild ball. That might be a CFL game, 51-50 or some crazy thing like that. The way the Ravens played last weekend.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
I was like, I expected it to be lopsided, but not that lopsided. I was expecting like a 21-point game, but not a 49-point game.
No, not at all. That was unbelievable what they laid a licking on the Dolphins. And, of course, the talk is that the Dolphins are tanking. I think they just weren't very prepared because that coach is trying to get his team sorted out as to who in the world's good and who isn't. And then, of course, they still made deals during the preseason, sending Tunsil away and getting, a measure of talent back, only to fill holes, not the talent for talent, obviously.
Yeah.
So, it just steamrolled on them.
Yeah.
But, so who do you think the Flash this last weekend? It looked good, but who's really in it for the long haul?
Well, obviously, I don't think the Steelers played. I mean, they played poorly as a team against the Patriots. The Patriots just had their number. However,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to be the Steelers' season. You know what I mean?
No, I thought it would be, but no, it's not.
But here's the thing. I don't like the fact that we're going to Pittsburgh this week to play them when they have such a huge chip on their shoulder. I
Well,
mean,
that's right. Yeah.
we barely held on for the Bengals at home. Going and our team travels fairly well still, but going into Pittsburgh, not going to happen. As a fan, I will. As a fan, talking to my friends and stuff, I will always pick the Seahawks to win regardless. But as a
Uh
podcast
huh.
host now, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible on things, and I
Yeah.
picked the Steelers to win against the Seahawks this week. So we'll see.
I I'd have to go that as well, in the sense because of that. I believe actually, to tell you the truth, I bet they're a pretty even up team. It's just they got just as much, probably as much a home field advantage as you guys do.
Yeah, they
You know,
definitely do,
you think
and
about
that's
it.
just it. They've earned that home field advantage through their fan base. Most of the Seahawks fan
Mhm.
base stays pretty core, but however, when we go through those lulls, we do lose some of that 12th man. So I mean, it's one of those things. Another team who I think lost but still has the potential to be there is the Panthers, and my reasoning for that is I think Cam is finally he hasn't shaken off the loss in the Super Bowl, but I think he's trying to make those steps happen now. The problem
Yeah.
is that he wasn't throwing down the field, and people are blaming it on the shoulder. And I think it's just more or less the offense was called not to throw it down the field. So
Right. Well, that'll be an interesting game tonight with them and the Buccaneers.
yeah, well,
And Winston is still being Winston, throwing it to the other team too much. And I think Arians is beginning to think, damn, what did I get myself into here?
oh yeah, no, Tom and I were talking about that game, uh, and we both were like, the only reason the 49ers won that game were the three pick sixes. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Yep, they've always good deep. They've always had a good offense. They got great players, but man, that quarterback makes some bad decisions. It's their defense that you can just run right through because they ain't got no players. That's what they're having to try and build. Now, I don't know, how this year is going to fare, but if Winston keeps on turning the ball over, it ain't going to do much good for him.
yeah, that reminds me. I should check to see the updated point spread. Give me just a second here.
All right.
Still about 6.5, but they brought New England and Miami down. They had New England at -19 yesterday when Tom and I recorded the podcast since I was off yesterday, and they've upped the Pittsburgh from a 3.5 to 4 point favorite.
Oh,
Um,
neat.
they still have the Chargers at Detroit at a 2.5 for the Chargers. Tom's not happy
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, yeah. That's Detroit is. I mean, the Lions team, they're PO, man. They knew they had that game and they let it get out the door. And I know the coaching staff blames itself for what it amounts to. This is what happens when you have not a brand new coach, but you have a brand new coordinator trying to work with a quarterback who's been at it for a long time. I mean, they just simply have not meshed yet
Yeah,
enough to know each other. When him and Linehan were working together, they did a great job, but Stafford was only like in his early 20s.
yeah,
Now he's hitting 30, and he certainly, as a grown man, knows what's going on and has got all kinds of background. But he also is a kind of guy that knows when the clock's about ready to go out, and he actually nailed the play just right. And Bevel just didn't realize that he had that kind of background because he's done that. He's done that for years.
yeah.
Uh,
That's the problem with Daryl Bevel is that it's his show or no show a lot of times. I mean, even Russell was having issues with Daryl at the end. So
wow. Well, it's funny because that's what made if everybody I don't know nationally if it hit the airwaves or not. I know they talked a little bit about it on Sirius Radio, what little show I was listening to, I think with Charlie and Bob Papa. But it was all over Detroit because the camera just happened to catch Stanford. Said, "Trust me, will you? Trust me." And they went back and forth on it, and of course he kind of, when he was being interviewed later on, well, it is better to be 3rd and 5, not taking a chance of maybe going 3rd and 10, and so he kind of acquiesced simply because, of course, it's the coaching staff. But it made some waves.
Yeah, it did.
So I'm feeling they're gonna make sure that they're all on the same page next time. That wasn't a good look, and they certainly didn't look good on the because they messed up, and it put a ripple effect into the rest of the game. They weren't the same since. But as far as that goes, Chargers and everything goes, I say Tom probably is a little more realistic because, man, I'm looking at them injuries. I said, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? But then I looked up Arizona, and they had a bunch of injuries too, and they didn't seem to hurt them none.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. Both Tom and I picked the Chargers to win.
Did you?
Yeah, I can't trust the Lions to hold anything. So.
Well, I wouldn't either. It's just, but the thing it is, with it being at home, I might give them a little bit more of an edge, so I'll call it even.
Well, I'm calling it even too, but at the same time, I'm going with the Chargers just because their offense is so multifaceted, even without Melvin Gordon, that it's
they got some horses, man.
Yeah.
There's no getting
around. Tom's even considering the trade to Washington for Trent Williams so they can get a good left tackle, and they'll trade away Melvin Gordon.
It's funny. Everybody's thinking about that. And you know what's also interesting as far as like on a one-on-one basis, two Ohio State players are going to be going against each other this weekend. Taylor Decker's our left tackle, and of course he's going to go up at times Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
They played together. Now I don't know if they practice against one another. I was talking to an Ohio State fan, and yeah, they were in the same class, but he said he's not sure if they ever did one-on-ones with Urban Meyer there. They might have just done what normally happens, but it'd be interesting to know. But one of the things Decker's having to deal with is a back issue, which isn't good.
Yeah.
That might be why he was having such a tough time of it dealing with Chandler Jones or Suggs, whoever was in front of him.
Yeah.
But I did notice on the injury report he is not listed, so we'll see what happens from then on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just play through it and tough it out. I hate to see that, but it is what it is.
So this is one of my games of the week here that I want your input on. The Texans and the Jaguars in Houston.
Oh boy. Yeah, is Minshew the real deal or not? That's what the big question is now. Is the Jaguar defense there? They actually, I watched that Chiefs game. I tell you what, the Jaguars defense ain't bad, but they had some blown coverages that they should have had taken care of. That's why them long bombs happened. Somebody wasn't covering somebody right, and then before you know it, the horse was let out the gate, and the guy scores the touchdown on a long one.
Yeah, unfortunately, they took a Tyreek Hill, who's one of my fantasy players.
Yeah, that's true.
But if they can keep their emotions in check and not keep getting ejected from games, I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars will surprise people if Minshew is the guy who can lead this team.
Yep.
The problem is that some of the veterans on the offense and the defense might be looking at him like, oh well, now that he's there, we're going to tank the season, and I hope that they're not doing that, but it's human nature,
Yeah. My game of the week, best game of the week, I think is going to be the Saints and Rams.
Oh yeah.
The rematch. Oh baby, look out! Yeah, that's the afternoon game. That'll be everywhere just about.
I know. I,
Uh,
I almost wish they could flex that one out with the Sunday night game.
oh yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. The one that's most interesting to me, the Vikings Packers game. Uh,
Tom and I
I,
split
I'm,
our
I'm.
picks on that one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see is the Vikings all that on the road, and is Green Bay going to pop back and keep it together enough uh, to score more points than just 10 points? Because that Vikings defense, man, that looked all world. I'm not kidding you. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers with the way he played last week. Um, his back was so stiff throughout the preseason that they hardly played him. Um,
yeah.
he if he's getting the right treatment and his back is finally starting to loosen up with real gameplay, then they could very easily win at home, obviously. But
Yeah.
The Vikings impressed me. So
Yeah. They look like they got it all together. It's dominating, man. But on the road, sometimes they seem to have they have a tendency to melt, or they get overconfident or something. Because I've seen them kind of all of a sudden just get all messed up and discombobulated, don't know what they're doing. But give me a game that normally is not of the best choice that you also are interested in, other than the Jags game.
okay. One of the other games that I normally am not vested in would be, and this is Tom's kind of pick of the game, was the Titans and the Colts.
Yeah.
With the way the Colts played against the Chargers, he's like, you got to watch out for them. And with what the Titans did against the Browns, and granted, it was all hype going into that game for the
Uh huh.
Browns, and the Titans had laid pretty low during the offseason. So I I think I think that's one we split on as well. Yeah, he took the Colts, I took the Titans.
Did
Um,
you?
yeah, I think that the Titans have the better team all around because I just can't trust Jacoby Brissett. He's
Yeah.
he's he does a lot, but at the same time he's not much better than a 500 quarterback.
Right.
So I wish him all the best, now that he's the man there. But at the same time, I just don't think that he'll be able to do it consistently.
Right. Right. Yeah, he's got the full reins now. It isn't like he's in place of somebody. Now we'll see how he does it when he's the man. Uh, and you mentioned the Browns, and I thought to myself, oh yeah, you got to see if the Browns can bounce back.
Well, they should now
Uh,
that Darnold's not going to be there due to mono.
uh, can you believe that? How does that happen? I mean, how do you wind up getting mono after you played football, for crying out loud? And now you know what's happening. The Bills and the Jets are all like, "Oh my goodness, what? Gotta check a doctor, clean everything, scar everything, man. The whole 9 yards,
Yep.
antiseptic, unbelievable."
What's even better though is I think the Bills are going to be moving to New York soon. They're playing back to back weeks in East Rutherford.
Oh, for crying out loud, ain't that something?
Yeah, and East Rutherford's getting a workout this week because they have the Giants and the Bills in East Rutherford, and then on Monday night is the Browns and the Jets.
Oh my. Hey, maybe they can be the champion of East Rutherford.
If they beat
No,
the Giants there, yeah, they will be.
anyway, but yeah, I think it's going to be another great weekend, of course. But the storylines, uh, uh, aside from that idiot over there in New England, uh, is starting to become just more football oriented now, not the soap opera that we always had to deal with through the spring and then in the summertime. But I'm hoping that it settles down. You and Tom talk about it, remember?
Oh, we touched a little bit on the Antonio Brown, but that was pretty much it. It was just talking the games really, and a few injuries, and just really making our picks and discussing about them. Have you seen last week's edition of the podcast yet on YouTube?
Yeah, I tried to listening to it the other night, and I just ran out of time. But I'm trying to, any way I can. I'll try and throw it around to everybody.
Yep, we're all good. All right,
Oh,
so I was looking at again. I'm not a big fan of the power rankings as far as judging teams, especially early on. Um, I
uh-huh.
I swear I saw on the NFL one that your guys' power ranking actually went up three, but on the AP Pro 32, you guys went down three. Um,
It never fails, man. Yeah, it's like they take and starts and throwing it apart and say, "Oh, yeah, that looks good."
yeah, let me see what Pat did for you. Let me see here. Pat put you down three, so
Yeah, yeah. He never liked Lions anyway, so I don't know. I don't care. And Jim's a Bears fan anyway, so who cares?
oh yeah,
But yeah, it's interesting though. The two areas that the Lions had the most concern over was on the offensive line was at left guard. They never really did draft a top draft choice to face or buy a top free agent or a good solid free agent to fill in at left guard. What they did is they went in house and they had a fifth round pick from about 3 years ago who's been a steady depth guy, and they went with him because evidently he's been playing good enough, went through practice, played good enough, and beat out both journeymen for the starting job. And PFF wound up giving him the best grade out, not just the team, but the entire league, which was surprising. So our best was the guy who had the worst, we had the worst most question at, and the other big question on defense was our number two cornerback, where we just hired this guy for 1 year, Rashad Melvin from the Raiders, who did poorly last year with them, and he actually kept up and did a very nice job. It was just like that until the fourth quarter when they just kind of, well, some say they were playing prevent defense. Others were just saying, well, they got an 18-point lead. But it was just a matter of circumstances that allowed it to happen that they shouldn't have allowed. But it wasn't because of the play of the players. It was the scheme that they were having to play in. So that was encouraging. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty good game for us. And I told one guy on a radio show a while back, I said, look, this is the way the Lions usually are, is that they always win. They win a game they shouldn't win, and they lose a game they shouldn't lose. And it looks like they didn't either, of course, in the first week, but it still was a surprise. So that's the Lions are now on the upset side of the teams because they play the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Chiefs in
yeah.
that succession. And the Eagles is a road game. I said it would be so lion-like that they win 2 out of 3 games of this next bunch.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. And Tom's of the opinion that you guys are your only really shot at winning was last week, and that now you're going to go 0-3 the next 3 weeks.
Well, that would be the realistic look at it. And then after the bye, we go to I think we go to Lambeau because I think we play Green Bay at home the last week of the season. And then there's a lot of teams that are kind of similar in our area. That middle of the road, where they're anywhere from 7-9 to 9-7, and they play like it. And you could almost flip a coin as to how they're going to be because they're talent and they're trying to get somewhere. They make the playoffs 1 year, and next year they don't, and so on and so forth. And there's a good chance that we could probably rip off a lot of good wins there against those teams. Because as the year goes on, you know how it is. New defenses take a while to kind of get the kinks ironed out. Then once they start rolling, they become better and better, and our defense should be a lot more cohesive.
Yeah, that that's what I'm trying to do with all the teams is just to look at them and see where they're most consistent at, and then hopefully be able to see where they can improve. Like with the Seahawks, we need a better cohesiveness to our offensive line. Russell was just getting
Yeah,
attacked too hard. The
yeah,
almost a similar thing with the Broncos with the way the Raiders defense was going at them. Um, Tom and I both agree that it's his defense is his run defense is very porous. You know, it's in the first 2 to 4 weeks is where you kind of have to let your passions go when it comes to yelling at your team for screwing things up. Except for when you're except for when you're yelling at Schottenheimer, our offensive coordinator. He can just go get. I'll just be polite and leave it there. He
yeah.
can he's too conservative in his play calling, and we scored our plays when Russell. I'm pretty sure Russell called audibles and had deep routes go and threw it to the deepest guy, and guess what? We scored. So
Yeah, yeah. That's it sounds like he's you know his family. That's the family of Marty Ball right there. Yeah, Marty Schottenheimer. So it doesn't surprise me none. But yeah, after everything's said and done, though, what team do you see that is going to be? I don't have the records in front of me, unfortunately. But what do you see? What team goes 2-0 that you think will have a chance to stick?
what team's gonna win their first 2 games and stay consistent for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's got to be the Patriots, don't you think?
I'm automatically just gonna discount them because the fact that they're playing the Dolphins, and
Yeah,
I'm sorry to the Dolphins fans out there, but you guys have to you guys just have to go through your growing pains with Rosen and just be done with it.
yeah.
Of the teams that go 2-0,
Around the corner, basketball's around the corner, man. Miami Heat ready to open.
pretty much. If the Seahawks win against the Steelers, and this isn't the homer in me, it's just me trying to be as unbiased. I think if the Seahawks win against the Steelers, they're going to give the Rams a run for their money for the division.
Yeah.
If either the Vikings or Packers win, that'll help stabilize their dominance over the division. But that's kind of a given. That's a given in your division. Is whoever goes 2-0 first, or whoever gets to 2 wins first, usually is the one who dominates the rest of the division.
Yeah, that's two division games right in a row for Green Bay. So they're getting at it early. I'll be interested to see how Florida does with Rodgers this year against that defense.
Yeah. If the Eagles or the Saints win, they'll be the dominant ones in their division. Cowboys will give the Eagles a run for their money this year. I don't know how well the Cowboys defense is going to hold up because they gave up 8.2 yards per carry to Barkley. Not that Barkley's a bad running back at all. Just that's a lot of yards per carry to give up in one game.
Right.
Right. But in all honesty, even the Titans could dominate their division if they beat the Colts this week. I mean, there's so many options. There's so many options here. I think whoever gets to 3 wins, or actually even 4 wins in the NFC West, the AFC South, and the NFC East. Whoever gets to the 4-win mark first, whether it's week 4 or week 5 or even week 6, they're going to be the dominant team in their division.
Yeah, so, I think so. That was the hardest divisions to figure out, especially now with Luck gone.
Oh yeah, so, and even the AFC West, because I mean I see the Chiefs Charger rivalry again this season. You know, because no offense to the Raiders out there, I predict you're going to lose this week. because even without Tyreek Hill, that Chiefs offense was almost unstoppable.
Oh yeah, they just got another little guys running around all over the place. So
Yep.
we'll have to see that. Well, okay.
Any parting
So
thoughts?
what's that?
You got any parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just say NFL 100. Let's go.
Well, here.
I can't do anything, man. I'm all out. I'm tired.
I hear you. I hear you. But I've got the week 2 schedule up here, and they're showing the highlights on NFL.com of Cynthia Roberts' predictions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she has the Seahawks winning 23-21 over the Steelers this week. I'm pretty sure we're gonna lose now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anchorman, it's good talking to you, man.
You take care, Commish.
Tom, you just tell Tom this is hate that you're gonna go see him lose, man.
I'll send him a text right away.
You betcha. Take care.
Take care, everybody. All right. There was Brandon the Commish. Sorry for the jump cut scene here, guys. He made a stop and didn't want it recorded, so I cut it out. Nothing really happened. So just always good to talk to him. Gonna try and, like I told him, gonna try and get a hold of Tom next week to try and do this with all 3 of us. Otherwise, it's always me, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a wonderful week. Enjoy your time and enjoy your games. And as we are serious football heads, let's watch some football.